Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is Jeffk, CEO of KKM Financial. Jeff, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Jill, great to be here.
And Jeff, really, I know you and I talk about equities and options all the time, but the story is crypto. I mean, that's really where the activity is at.
It is, and it's amazing. This is the first week of earnings season. We can talk about financials ad nauseum, but let's talk about cryptocurrency. Let's talk about Coinbase. Had a very successful direct listing at the Nasdaq. That was great to see. And now there's just a lot of enthusiasm. And talk about one specific coin. We have to talk about Dogecoin. Dogecoin is up over 500% in the last 7 days. I know Elon Musk has had a lot to do with that. We've seen Slim Jim, yes, snap in one of those Slim Jims, snap into some Dogecoin, because Slim Jim was talking about incorporating Dogecoin into their investment thesis at their company. So they're just seeing this global adoption. You're seeing this global enthusiasm, and you're seeing a lot of the cryptocurrencies. High tide lifts all boats, but you're just seeing a remarkable higher, despite the fact Coinbase came out and there's a little bit of a lull. You are seeing Bitcoin come back to 61,000, but bigger picture, this is really exciting times for cryptocurrency investors.
It really is. And you bring up a great point that the altcoins for the past year have been surpassing Bitcoin. And I wonder if that's a combination of, from a capital perspective, it's a little bit easier to get into them, even though you can buy Bitcoin in pieces. And I think not only from the institutional perspective, but the broader retail market is starting to understand the application for some of these.
Well, education is first and foremost, right? You're absolutely right. People are embracing themselves and better understanding the technology, the need for this decentralized finance. But it's fascinating to see a name like Dogecoin, which started out as a joke back in 2013, Jill. You see that leap Polkadot. From a market cap perspective, Dogecoin is now over $40 billion. You're seeing $2 trillion in total cryptocurrency market cap. And I think there's still a lot of folks out there who are adverse to directly investing. That's why we actually run a model that highlights and identifies companies that either have direct or indirect exposure to Bitcoin. So this whole broad conversation about cryptocurrencies, how people can potentially get paid in Bitcoin, I think it's just really in the first or second inning, and that's where it gets exciting. I'm not saying it's a little bit bubbly here. I'm not saying it's going to go straight up. There's going to be volatility. You have to understand there's tremendous volatility. This is not like trading stocks and bonds. This is a completely different animal. But on the same notion, Jill, you are seeing this broader interest from a global perspective.
So let's talk about the model portfolio for a moment. When you say that it has exposure to crypto assets, or perhaps they accept crypto as a form of payment, give us an example of a company or two that fits into that model.
We run an innovative balance sheet model portfolio. What's fascinating is that just 2-3 years ago, there were only about 15 or 20 names that we're able to utilize as a universe to pick names and companies from that universe. Now we are seeing Slim Jim, for example. We're seeing names like this really grow that universe. We anticipate about 100 different companies by the end of 2021 that will have direct or indirect exposure to Bitcoin. So what does that actually mean? Well, if you look at PayPal, PayPal has indirect exposure. Back in October, and that was the real catalyst, Jill, if you remember, that was the catalyst that moved Bitcoin from the price of 12,000 up to 65,000, due to the fact that they're allowing their 350 million users to transact in cryptocurrency or Bitcoin. Now, on the other side of the fence, you look at a name like Tesla. They have $1.5 billion. Well, it's probably worth closer to $2 billion now of actual Bitcoin on their balance sheet. You talk about Square, you talk about PayPal, but now you're looking at other different companies kind of coming in and understanding maybe they want to pay some of their employees in cryptocurrency. So this universe that we like to look at that truly have direct or indirect exposure on their balance sheet, this universe is growing and it's probably going to surpass 100. That was our regional expectation as the portfolio manager. I'm like, this is fantastic. We're seeing the names grow, but it's probably going to surpass 100 names by the end of the year.
Yeah, that's awesome. These model portfolios are perfect for advisors that are looking to give their clients some exposure in their portfolios. Jeff, it's great to see you as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.